Welcome back to our channel, Kensong. Our today's topic is the chemical properties of metals and non-metals. The chemical properties of a substance is decided to how it reacts with the other substance. Metals and non-metals, it undergo different chemical reactions with other substance, such as oxygen, water, acid and base. Okay, let us study how these metals and non-metals react with the other substance. The first chemical reaction is reaction with the oxygen. Okay, let us see how metal is reacting with the oxygen. Almost all the metals is reacting with the oxygen. It produces metal oxide. Okay, almost all metals is reacting with oxygen. It produces metal oxide. Okay, and these metal oxides are basic in nature. Okay, these metal oxides are basic in nature. The chemical reactions is represented by the equation is named as a VIII equation. And the VIII equation, the left hand side are named as a reactants and the right hand side is named as a product. So we can say metal and oxygen are the reactants. The reactant for the product is metal oxide. Okay, and all the metals will not react with the oxygen with the same speed. Different metals show different reactivity towards oxygen. For example, sodium and potassium. They react vigorously with the oxygen at room temperature and they catch a fire as soon as they kept in open space. That is why they kept under the kerosene oil. Let us see the chemical reaction when sodium is reacting with oxygen. Okay, sodium is example of a metal. When this metal is reacting with oxygen, it is producing metal oxide. So sodium is reacting with oxygen, it is producing sodium oxide. Okay, and potassium is reacting with oxygen, producing potassium oxide. Okay, and our third example, when magnesium is reacting with oxygen, it is producing magnesium oxide. Okay, with the presence of one light dazzling. And the next example, when the magnesium is reacting with the oxygen, it is producing magnesium oxide. Okay, let us see when the magnesium is reacting with oxygen, it is producing magnesium oxide with the presence of one dazzling light. Okay, so we can say any metal is reacting with the oxygen, it is producing its metal oxide. Okay, let us see how this non-metal is reacting with the oxygen. And in the case of a non-metal, any non-metal is reacting with the oxygen, it is producing non-metallic oxide. Okay, let us see here, any non-metal is reacting with the oxygen, it produces non-metallic oxide. And this non-metallic oxide are acidic in nature. Okay, this non-metallic oxide are acidic in nature. Okay, so any non-metal is reacting with the oxygen, it is producing non-metallic oxide. And this non-metallic oxide are acidic in nature. For example, sulfur plus oxygen, you will get sulfur dioxide. And carbon plus oxygen, you will get carbon dioxide. Okay, so we can say any non-metal is reacting with the oxygen, we will get a non-metallic oxide, that is sulfur dioxide and a carbon dioxide. The second chemical property is how these metal and non-metal react with the water. Okay, in the case of a metal, these metals are reacting with the water, it will produce metal oxide along with the hydrogen gas. Okay, the metal is reacting with water, it will produce metal oxide plus hydrogen gas. Okay, metal is reacting with the water, it will produce metal oxide and hydrogen gas. And again this metal oxide is reacting with the water. Okay, again this metal oxide is combined with the water, it is producing metal hydroxide. Okay, to produce metal hydroxide. And different metals they react with water under different conditions. For example, in the case of sodium, okay, it reacts with the cold water and it producing sodium hydroxide. Okay, let us see the chemical equation. When the sodium is reacted with the water, it is producing sodium hydroxide and along with hydrogen gas. Okay, along with the hydrogen gas. And the second example, the case of magnesium, it does not react with the cold water, but it slowly reacts with the hot water and it producing magnesium hydroxide and the presence of hydrogen gas. Okay, magnesium is reacting with the water in producing magnesium hydroxide. Okay, it produces magnesium hydroxide in the presence of hydrogen gas. And the third example, zinc. The zinc is do not react with the water, but it reacts with the steam. Okay, and they producing zinc oxide and hydrogen gas. Okay, third example, zinc is reacting with the steam. Okay, react with the steam, it producing zinc oxide plus hydrogen gas. And some metals like copper, silver, gold, it does not react with the water. Okay, so we can say any metals is reacting with the water, it is producing metal oxide and hydrogen gas. In the case of non-metal, this non-metal generally do not react with the water. Okay, this non-metal generally do not react with the water. For example, phosphorus, it catches fire when it is exposed to air, but it not react with the water. That is why they kept under the water. So we can say these non-metals generally do not react with the water. And the third chemical reaction is how these metals and non-metals react with the acids. In the case of the metals, almost all the metals react with the acid to produce salt and hydrogen gas. Okay, almost all the metals is react with acids, it will produce salt and hydrogen gas. Okay, and what do you mean by this term salt? Because salt is a compound is formed when and the metal is replaced with hydrogen in an acid. Okay, let us see an example. In the case of sodium, okay, the sodium is reacted with hydrochloric acid. Okay, sodium is an example of a metal is reacted with hydrochloric acid. It will form sodium chloride plus hydrogen. Okay, this sodium is reacted with this chlorine, that is sodium chloride, and this hydrogen is the form of a gas, hydrogen gas. So the sodium chloride is named as a salt. Okay, this metal is replaced the hydrogen in the acid. Okay, so we can say sodium chloride is example of a salt. And the second example, magnesium is reacted with the sulfuric acid, H2SO4. Okay, magnesium is example of a metal and it's an acid. Okay, when the magnesium is reacted with the sulfuric acid, it will produce a magnesium sulfate and hydrogen gas. Here the same like that, magnesium is reacted with the sulfate to form magnesium sulfate. That is an example of a salt and hydrogen. So we can say any metal is reacted with the acid, it is producing salt and hydrogen gas. But in the case of a non-metal, it does not react with the acid. The fourth reaction is reaction with the bases. Okay, in the case of metals, very few metals such as aluminium, lead, zinc is reacted with a strong base, it is producing corresponding compound and hydrogen gas. Okay, for example, sodium hydroxide. Okay, it is a strong base. When it is reacted with the metal zinc, it is producing sodium zinc, that is ZnO2 plus hydrogen gas. Okay, when a strong base sodium hydroxide, when it's reacted with a metal zinc, okay, it produces one compound, that is one salt, that is sodium zincate. Okay, the sodium zinc and this oxygen combined to form sodium zincate, and remaining this hydrogen, it is act as a hydrogen gas. Okay, and in the case of a non-metals is reacted with the base. Okay, it is a very complex reaction, so we will learn in the higher classes. Let us revise the chemical properties of metals and non-metal. In the case of one metal is reacted with the oxygen, it produces metal oxide. And non-metal is reacted with the oxygen, it produces non-metallic oxide. And the reaction with the water, when metal is reacting with the water, it produces metal oxide plus hydrogen gas. And non-metal, they do not react with the water. And in the case of an acid, this metals plus acid, it producing salt along with hydrogen gas. But in the case of a non-metal, they do not react with the acid. And in the case of a metal is reacting with the base, it is producing corresponding salt along with the hydrogen gas. Thank you all of you.